Okay, we are live. What's up, guys? Welcome back. I see a bunch of people who are already in here waiting for the stream to go live. Just want to say sorry for, well, I guess we were, this is our usual time to go live. We go live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern, which is right now. But we put up the stream a little early today for people who wanted to wait on it or jump in here and just wait in the queue, just to see if that was more convenient or helpful to people. But a couple of people got confused and thought we were starting or early or we were late to it. But we are on time. Don't you guys worry. What's up, everybody? How are you all doing? Hope you're doing well wherever you are, and I hope you had a nice weekend. I personally did. We had some fun times up in the mountains for the weekend, me and my dad and some friends. We definitely enjoyed the weekend and got away for the charts for a little bit. So hello to everybody in the chat. Check out the new branding on the stream. You guys already know we got to flash the branding for TradingView, who is sponsoring our content here. Big thank you to TradingView for helping to support our content. They saw our content, they saw what we do here, and they wanted to put their name on it. And I was more than happy to oblige because, as you guys know, TradingView is the best trading platform, hands down. I think it is just the simplest to use. It is so convenient. You have so many different tools. And I just want to say a huge thank you to tradingview.com. If you do not already have a TradingView account set up, by all means, get one. It's free and it is very, very worth it. So you can head over to tradingview.com and check it out there. And again, sign up and support them because they support what you guys see here. Everything that is free to you all is also being helped by tradingview.com. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, Andrew says that's dope. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm just very, very proud to be able to associate our name, Anyone Trading, with tradingview.com. So big move there, in my opinion. I think it's a pretty cool thing. So how's everybody doing? We got everybody in here now. So good to see you all. And yeah, check out the branding. I think it's pretty cool. So let's get into some stuff. Let's see what we can do here for TradingView and see if we can offer you some value since they're sponsoring today's content. So let's go over and do what we usually do, which we'll back out here. We'll head over to the website, a1trading.com. We'll pull this up and we can show you guys some cool little stuff using the old website. You guys already know this is free as well. Head over to a1trading.com. That's our website, and you can read up on the latest stuff. We got some coverage. I changed this, you guys. If you ever want to keep up with any of these majors, I know a lot of you guys like gold. A lot of you guys like the euro, the pound, and the dollar yen. If you have any interest on this, our analysts at A1 Trading, we got a couple different writers here who do stuff for you. Head over here and just come check this out anytime you want. You can read up on the latest articles on things like gold. You know, just click here and bam, you got things on gold you can read up on if you have any interest anytime, even when I'm not live. So definitely check that out. But let's head over to the currency heat map. This is where I want to start today and show you guys what's going on this this heat map here today. So the heat map is like our overall view of the market. We can see which currencies are moving, which ones are not moving, which ones are strong, weak, etc. It seems like the New Zealand dollar is bearish today. We've got the Aussie also bearish and the CAD sort of flat. Hasn't really moved much, if anything, slightly down today. And then on the flip side, you've got the yen coming in strong. You've got the dollar looking decent. You've got the euro looking decent. And the pound mixed, Swiss franc mixed. So there's your overall summary. Our main focus today, in my view, is going to be the ones down here, the Aussie, the CAD, and the New Zealand. Mostly focusing, I think I want to take a look at the Aussie and the New Zealand just because those ones seem to be moving quite a bit today. So with that said, let's check it out. Let's jump into some charts and see what we can get in. I always get the question, like, what does the currency heat map tell you? Well, all it is it's taking these currencies here, the majors, right, and crossing them against themselves, basically, to see how they're comparing relative to the other major currencies, right? So we could say, if I wanted to look at the pound versus the New Zealand today, we can see that the pound is strengthening against the New Zealand, right? The New Zealand is definitely taking some heat relative to the pound, which is sort of winning that fight, right? Currency pairs there, basically, it's like lining up two people to fight in a ring, and you can take a bet on which one you think is going to win. So if we go over to example here, if we take a look at GBP NZD, just for the sake of looking at it, you can see that this one is very, very strong today with a lot of pressure on the pound going higher. Let's start with the pound. We'll do something different than usual. We'll take a look at GBP USD here. We'll start with this one. We usually talk about it, but usually it's later on in the stream. Let's start with the pound New Zealand today. The pound dollar today, and we will get into this. So you've got GBP USD, and what we're going to look at when looking at the pound dollar is you have some nice little demand that came into the pound here off of that 1.4 level. We didn't quite get to 1.4. We covered that a few times. We barely missed it before rallying higher, but it does seem like the natural place, the path of least resistance, if you will, for the pound is a move back up to 1.42. The reason I say that is because if we just scroll out a bit, you can see that the last time we tagged up in this area, buyers gave it a good try, but then ultimately sellers came in and pushed price lower. Will the same thing happen? I don't know. I'm not a fortune teller, but I can tell you that I think that the natural place for price to try for is to dig deeper into this zone here. I think I still have this target at 1.42, saying that I think price tags up into the upper limits of this resistance at the very least. From there, it's just a matter of, hey, can this thing break this level higher? Because I think that so you guys know, if you've been watching me, that I'm bullish on the pound. I think it has more upside. And so the biggest thing I would say is that this is not necessarily an absolute, it can't go any higher and it's going to drop to the floor. What I view this is this is a pause level or a barrier before price could potentially break higher and do one of these guys, right? So if I'm looking at the pound, I'm only really interested right now in buy trades. I have no interest in shorting the pound dollar. I can be wrong about that. Please don't think I'm, always right. But the idea is that for me, with the UK coming out and saying that they are going to be doing the tapering process, right, or slowing of the printing press, if you will, printing less of their money is what? It's bullish for their currency. If you print more of a currency, it causes it to devalue. Right now in the US, we're struggling with a little bit of inflation, right? With all the money printing and stuff going on. There's a concern about inflation, which we will cover more about when we talk about gold today. So stay with me until we get to gold. But with the pound dollar, again, with the pound saying that things are looking good and we expect to slow that printing compared to the US dollar, which there's not really any sign of real slowing of the printing right now, that naturally gives me a bullish bias on this currency pair. So when I'm looking at this, the number one setup that I see for the pound dollar would be show me some strength, show me some breaking out of this 1.42, and then I would absolutely be looking to buy and continue going with the trend. You might say, well, Nick, that seems like you're buying high and you should be buying low, selling high. Well, low and high are all relative, you guys. So if you see strength come into a market like this, right, it very well has the potential to keep going, not the guarantee, but the potential to keep going higher. And so a pullback after a break higher is a level of interest to me, because I'm saying, okay, well, I think this thing most likely continues this rally as demand just sort of rushes in. And so any pullback looks good to me for a buy. So for me on the pound dollar, my most interested setup would be something like this, looking for the retest and continuation. If that sets up, then I will probably take that trade. And if you guys know, unless you don't know already, any trade that I take, I share with members inside of our private community on Discord. There's information on that down below in the description. Okay, so with that said, I want to also say with the pound dollar that if it also were to retest, if we were to see some bearishness before going higher, I think we do head to 1.42. But if for some reason we decide to go back and retest these lows first, 1.4 has my eye. I'm very interested in that level, right? I have my eye on 1.4. So pull back to this zone again. You can see very clear levels of resistance before breaking out. Right? Once we broke out, that retest looked pretty good. And so if we do sort of come down for a double bottom sort of thing, I'm looking at that as a potential area to buy as well. So again, you might say, well, Nick, if you're going to buy it here or you're going to buy it here, why don't you just buy it now? Well, the reason is because when I let a trade come down to this point, if I say, okay, well, if it comes down to 1.4, then I will buy, I can define my risk a bit better. So I can put a stop here instead of if I bought it here, look how big my stop loss is and taking much more risk on that trade. So for me, what I'm looking at is I'm saying if I get a nice entry at a level that looks really good, gives me that good chance of taking a trade where, yes, I can be wrong. Yes, I can take a loss, but the loss will be small and the win potentially could be big. You already know that's what it's all about for me. So that is what I'm looking at on the pound dollar here on a Monday, watching things develop here. We will get to gold. Again, I'm going to talk about more in the inflation realm when we get to gold. So stay with me until we get there for sure. It is a hot topic right now for sure. So we will get there. Don't you guys worry. So let's move on to something else and see what we can get into. So let's also look at the euro. So the euro is not one that I'm super interested in right now. I'll talk about that. So basically, I'm not really bullish on the euro or bullish on the dollar, right? You've got the euro. Yes, it's had some promising, outlook, but until the numbers look really good for the euro, we do have some news with the euro this week. But until the numbers look really good and sort of confirm the bias, for me, the euro is not necessarily a buy yet. So for me, when I'm looking at this, I'm saying, okay. For now, since I'm not super bullish on the dollar, not super bullish on the euro, if anything, I'd be more interested in range plays, right? Saying back and forth rather than strong trends one way or the other. So if I'm looking at the euro against the dollar, personally, it's not something I would really even trade if I don't have a strong interest one direction or the other. So when I look at the euro against the dollar, again, I will say from a technical perspective for you guys out there who are trading this thing and watching for just technical trades, there may be some opportunity looking for the breakout this week if we get it. Again, that would also probably line up with the pound dollar since there is some crossover there, right? When you get the euro and the pound, a lot of times there's some correlation there, especially with the US dollar in both of those currency crosses. So with that said, with the euro dollar, watching to see if we can get a break. If we do in fact get a break, something like this could be a good opportunity to look for higher prices, maybe a move up to 1.235. But again, not something that I will be personally trading, just an idea there for the technical traders watching that euro USD move. Okay, can we take a look at dollar Swiss? Sure, Luke. That's actually a good one to pull up today. I was looking at it earlier today, and I think it has some interesting points. So we'll do USD CHF, pulling it up on the chat. So this is one that on the chart. This is one that I used to look at quite a bit, but have since paused because again, my bullish thesis on the dollar was wrong. I was not correct about that, and of course, I've stopped really trading the dollar Swiss and the dollar yen, which were both currency crosses that I was very interested in. However, you do have a very interesting zone of support where previously we really saw prices rally off of this level more specifically being about 0.9, right? You've got 0.9 right here, 0.9 coming in hot and heavy, where we basically just found a nice little rally off of that point. Now, the question is, on the retest, is it going to hold again or is it going to break? So we don't know, right? It's impossible for us to know if a level is going to hold. If I had to take a educated guess, I would say most likely it probably bounces. You can see the last time it was here, did have some very strong bounce. And if anything, if I'm choosing the dollar versus the Swiss franc, right now I'm still taking the dollar, because when I'm looking at dollar versus the Swiss franc, you've got a currency, an economy that, yes, it's dealing with some inflation, the US that is, but it's still growing. Things are still looking okay. Unemployment's not great. Inflation's not great. But again, I still would prefer it over the Swiss franc. The Swiss franc, they are purposely trying to devalue their own currency for the advantages that it yields in the trade war. If you have a cheaper currency, it makes it easier for other countries to buy your products, right? Think about China. China has a weaker currency than a lot of other places, so it's easy for us to buy their products since their manufacturing costs relative to what they receive is good for them, right? So if you think about it, a cheaper currency is not always a bad thing. People always look at, oh, the currency must be going down, that's terrible. But sometimes, especially when they purposely say that they want to devalue their currency, like the Swiss National Bank, they will do what they can to actually try and decrease the Swiss franc against the dollar, which would actually cause this thing to do what? To go up, right? If they're successful in that mission, their idea would actually be the dollar trading higher against the Swiss franc. So, we'll see if that agenda plays out for them. But when I'm looking at this thing, like I said, I would take the dollar over the Swiss franc personally. This is, of course, not financial advice. This is just my thoughts and opinions, as always. But again, that's what I'm thinking. What about this fib? Is there anything here? It looks like it's very much testing the limits here of this 0.618 or the 61.8 retracement there on the dollar. We are technically underneath that 200-day moving average, which is not super bullish in my opinion. If anything, that's sort of flat / bearish. So again, not my favorite cross right now, but just my take on this. I would take the dollar Swiss and the dollar yen long before I took them short. But again, both of those are not ones that I'm personally trading right now. But again, I try and open it up. Even if I'm not trading something, I like to just weigh in for the people who are trading it or who have an interest in it. Just because I don't like something or I am not trading something does not mean that you cannot, obviously, right? You have your own opinions and your own set of trading setups and ideas. So by all means, we try and keep it fairly diverse in what we look at here on the stream. So with that said, dollar yen, just because it's a natural similar chart to dollar Swiss and dollar yen are both the US dollar versus a safe haven currency, right? The yen and the Swiss franc are both considered sort of, I guess, risk off in currencies because people buy them for their relative stability compared to other more volatile places when things are scary. So when you get a world where there's a pandemic that sweeps across the entire planet and trade comes to a halt and everybody panics and, things are scary, there's a rush into these sort of safe haven places to store your money compared to, if you're holding, we were looking at Tesla stock this morning before I went live. Tesla stock sold off dramatically. That was because a lot of people were like, this is way too high risk right now. I just want to keep my money safe because we don't know what's going to happen with this whole pandemic. Well, that happens again and again in markets. Even though the pandemic was new to very many of us, those sort of scary situations in markets are nothing new, and they've happened for a long, long time, right? So that sort of pattern of moving your money out of places that is risky, that yields potentially higher in good times, and moving money instead into more stable, safer stuff that is a little bit more trustworthy during the scary times, right? Japan has, a relatively stable economy relative to other places, but you're not going to get massive yield holding on to Japanese yens compared to holding on to pound, British pounds or Aussie dollars. Those have more potential, right? Buying Aussie bonds, things like that, right? It's all about in the good times, people are looking for yield. They're looking to make money. In the bad times, people are looking to not lose their money. That is the simplest way that I can put it. With that said, let's look at another safe haven, gold. So gold is a fairly interesting topic right now. XAU USD pulled up on the screen here. We'll talk about gold because I do have an opinion here. So gold is one that right now is a fairly hot topic. It is moving up very strongly, but let me give you my take on it. Now, again, take it as you will. I'm not always right, and I am by no means a all-knowing market professional. I'm just sharing you guys my opinion here when looking at gold. So when I'm looking at gold, here's what I see. So we've got a nice little uptrend. We've got a nice little momentum here on the 4-hour mostly chart. But looking at the daily perspective, let me just give you guys this take. So on the daily chart, from a technical perspective, first, you do have lower highs coming in on this market. You've got a couple different scenarios where price rallied. You can see this actually looks fairly similar to what we see right now. You've got bullish momentum coming in, pushing higher, but then it sold off dramatically and we saw fresh lows for the year. Well, right now we see sort of an attempt to push higher again on gold. Is this one going to fail just like the last one? Maybe, maybe not. But let me give you this perspective of why I would say maybe it is more likely than expected to continue lower. The reason I would say that is because there are concerns about inflation, which does cause a lot of times gold to fly up, right? When inflation is scary, people say, I don't want to have my money in cash. I'd rather have it in gold or something more stable, right? Because if money is if you have high inflation and you've got your money in the bank and you're losing 4%, 3%, whatever it is per year, that's scary, right? If you're just losing your money because it's sitting in the bank, People don't like that. So they go and they buy something that maybe can hold their value a little bit better, which historically people have debated whether or not gold is good for that. Now, gold is on the rise due to that inflation fear. So this is what you call a safe haven investment. Okay, so safe haven, the idea here is that you have people buying this in times of fear. The problem that I have with gold, though, is that we are not in a time of fear. Inflation is a bit of a concern, yes, but we are not in a time of supreme fear in markets. We go back to the example of 2020 and you can see the difference. Here's a time where there was concerns about inflation and there was market fears, and you had this amazing run up on gold, super strong momentum to the upside. That is not what we don't see that right now in gold, because again, we are in a market environment that is recovering. Things are doing well. Things are looking good. Unemployment globally, there's been a pause, but it seems to be on the decrease, which is good, right? You want people going back to work and economies coming back. So that's where, gold tends to do well during times where things are like chaos and scary. But right now, that's not what we see. We see, rightfully so, we see gold sort of selling off because people are not so concerned. So yes, there is a concern of inflation, but there is also not a concern about like major markets collapsing, right? Maybe that will come up in the future. Like I said, I'm not a fortune teller, but for now, that's not the case. And so for me, the bullish thesis is sort of stunted by that. One more thing for my gold friends that trade it. Let me show you guys something here that might be helpful. So if we go over to the website, again, you guys can use this anytime you want. Head over to COT reports on a1trading.com, our website, for free. You got access here. So check this out. Let's go down to gold, and I want to show you are the COT reports on gold for now. So gold, actually, you know what? I'm not sure what this is going to look like. So we're gonna discover together. Let's look at the non-commercial. Oh, okay. Scratch everything I said. Gold is super bullish now. I'm kidding, but this is something to at least note. So before this week, before the most recent data, we saw a lot of sell pressure on gold. So that was not super enticing, right? If you see the big money, COT report reflects the interest or the open positions of large hedge funds and institutions. If you see that decreasing, that's not super bullish, right? Because you've got big holders, big money, managers, not super bullish on the chart that you're looking at. That's not my favorite thing. I'd like to see, strong demand like we did back in 2020. Nice increase over time. Right now, we see gold sort of flat. We did get a spike to gold. To be fair, we did see a nice little spike in buy pressure here on the most recent COT reports. Definitely something to watch going into next week. And as you guys know on the streams, you'll get all of the updates here. So make sure to subscribe for sure, and turn on post notifications so that you can see this stuff in the future. But again, for now, gold seems to be sort of a mixed sentiment. There's concerns about inflation, but we're not in risk off. So for me, when I look at gold, I'm not overwhelmingly bullish. Now, it doesn't mean that I think it's going to collapse. It's just that I'm not really willing to take a trade. If things get scarier in the world, if we see unemployment stay, halted, if we see, not a lot of GDP growth, things like that, then perhaps I could see myself shifting on gold. One more thing from a technical perspective here on gold is watch for the break. If we can get a break, if this completely denies what I'm saying and we see a big fat green candle, off of the back of that fresh COT demand, maybe there's some interest here for pullback opportunities, especially if you are bullish on gold, if you think that inflation is going to continue to rise, if that is a bigger concern than the Fed wants you to think it is. Yeah, maybe there's some upside for gold. But for me, I'm just being cautious. I'm not saying it's going down dramatically. I'm just saying be cautious on the bullish side, because again, last time we had a little, counter trend move like this, it ended up being sold into really aggressively. And so be weary that, we could be seeing something like that happen again, which could, from a technical view, take us past previous lows, maybe even down to something like 1,600. So if we look at the last time gold sold off, let's look from peak to trough here. That was a move from about 1950 down to 1680, let's say. If that move were to happen again, that same distance, it would take us down to somewhere around 1600/1575. Okay, so that's just a perspective for traders out there watching gold. Hope that helped. I was looking forward to doing this on all morning just chatting with gold because it's actually kind of more of a confusing trade right now than anything for me. There are other ones that I like a lot more. So let's look at one of those. Let's look today now at dollar CAD. This one is easier. This is so what we just talked about on gold. I know that might have been for the newer traders, my friends out there just getting into this stuff, might have been a bit confusing. I know it was a lot to look at. But this chart for me is a little bit easier. And when I'm talking about the trades that I actually like to execute, take positions on, I'm looking for the easier stuff out there. Again, I'm not a wizard. I'm not a market genius or anything like that. I don't know what's going to happen with certainty. As a trader, that's not even my job. My job is to take trade setups that give me the best opportunity relative to the risk that I'm taking, right? So when I look at markets, I'm looking for something that's the easiest trade. The one that comes to mind is like, okay, yes, I want to be long or short on that currency cross. And the one that I'm most interested right now in is being long on the CAD and being long on the pound. Again, this is not financial advice. Please don't go buying these things or selling these things just because I have an interest in them. Do your own research, do your own due diligence. I promise you it will serve you better to know what you're doing and learn it for yourself more than trying to copy other people. But with that said, when I look at the dollar CAD, this is one that I want to be short on. Maybe not dollar CAD specifically, but bullish on the Canadian dollar specifically. Out of Canada, we've basically had, we had this news right here, which was the fact that they want to slow their printing, right? Their money printing process is on the slowdown, which is very good for a currency. If you print less of your currency, it gets inflated less, right? That's the idea, at least. So with the CAD saying that, with the Bank of Canada coming out and saying something like that, I have a bullish bias on the Canadian dollar until further notice, especially against some of the other currencies that are not yet doing that, like the US dollar and the yen, right? So if I'm looking at a chart, I'm looking to be long on the CAD, short on something else that I'm bearish on. The ones that come to mind for me on that perspective would be the, bullish on the CAD, bearish on the yen, bearish on the Swiss franc, bearish on the dollar, right? Maybe even sort of bearish on the euro, but those are the ones that I'm looking at. So when I look at this, when I look at dollar CAD, pullbacks to major levels of resistance are where I am looking for opportunities to enter into this trade, looking for more downside on the dollar CAD. You might say, well, Nick, it seems so low. But markets can go up or down a lot more than people ever think that they can. And sometimes the best trades are actually just going with the trend and riding out some of the great market moves that we occasionally see. And so if you've been short on the dollar CAD, which I haven't been short on the dollar CAD, but I've been taking CAD trades that have been going very, very well recently. Another one of those videos might be coming out later on in the day. Stay tuned for that. I've got a trade, or I had a trade that went really well on CAD Swiss, which I think you'll see some point here. So that is, something you'll see. But again, I've been bullish on the CAD and it's been working out quite well. And I'm looking for more opportunities to be long again on the CAD, or in this case, short on the dollar, long on the CAD. But what I'd be looking for is a nice retracement. So we've had a great run on the CAD pairs. We've seen them be very strong. Any sign of weakness on the CAD is something that I will probably be looking to take a trade on. And as you know, if I take a trade, you can see the trade live inside of our Discord. If you're not in our Discord, there's a link down below in the description. Sign up in there and you will see all the trades that I take, win or lose. You can make fun of me if I lose, and you can say I'm cool if I win. But again, it's just all visible there to members inside of the group. Shout out to my friends in the chat who are already inside of the private group. You guys are the best. I know a lot of you guys watch, and I get a lot of messages from members inside of the chat every single day. So shout out to my friends there who are already inside of the private group. If you're not already, I highly encourage you to sign up for at least a month and just give it a try. If you like it, stay with us for the long term. If you don't, it's all good. You can just watch videos for free. But I think that it is very worth giving it a try at the very least. So anyways, on the dollar CAD, like I said, retracements up to major levels of resistance, things like the 38.2 that I've already had drawn, and maybe even a move up to 61.8. Both of these are opportunities for me to try and look for sell side action. Again, that's not a guarantee that it works, but it is the ones that I am most interested in and think that there is the easiest sort of setup, the easiest, if that even exists in markets. Nothing is easy, but those are my favorite setups. So we'll look at CAD Swiss just because this one is CAD CHF. Pull this one up on the screen here for a moment. So I'll show you guys generally what I was up to the last few weeks. I bought CAD Swiss a few times in this uptrend. Bought it on the pullback here. And I did somewhere else. So I think it was like here, and then I bought it again here. So 1, 2, 3 times I bought the CAD Swiss, and each one ended up being a profit. Not all my trades are that good, but it was really cool just to have a nice little hot win streak there of 3 nice trades, and it ran up like crazy. Ultimately got out of the trade for a nice profit on the retracement. I ran this thing from here. The best one, the last one was here all the way up to this point. But then when we failed to break higher, I trailed my stop up, and then on the retest got out. And thank goodness that I did, because you can see price continued lower there. So I think I played that one pretty decently. And like I said, if only all my trades were that easy and that good, I would just be a millionaire. Every single day I'd be making millions. But it's not that easy, right? It's just we don't have a crystal ball. All we can do is take trades that make sense, that risk manage properly, and stick to a strategy, right? Check out gold. It's flying. We looked at gold earlier, but is it really doing anything special yet? It did jump again. You guys, I can't stay away from gold right now. It did, by the way, 1850 did get hit. We talked about this months ago. We talked about it back, when we started to really form this low. Said probably a retracement to 1850, and there it is. We made it, right? We arrived. But now the question is, can it really break 1850, or is it time to let the sellers take a turn? I don't know. I'm not here to really take a trade on gold personally. Like I said earlier, not really one that I am trading right now. But if anything, I would say it's probably looking more top heavy than not. So that's just my opinion, though. Okay, so dollar CAD we already looked at. Euro. We looked at the pound, looked at dollar yen, dollar Swiss. What about pound yen? GBP, JPY. We'll pull this one up and talk about the pound yen. I did talk about a potential pullback, but it doesn't seem like we're anywhere near that at this point. So let's actually start fresh on pound yen. So we're looking at GBP, JPY, and let's take a look here. So GJ looks quite interesting because you've got this nice little level. I still have my eye on this pullback on GJ. So if price comes down on pound yen to something like 152, you've got some nice opportunities of demand should we see a retracement to that point. And this was the fib that I drew. So I drew from here, right, all the way up to this point. And I said a pullback to 50% looks pretty interesting to me. We're pretty far away from that because this is a 4-hour chart. So, you're looking at a pretty good distance there before that even comes into play. But for me, this is, sometimes it's setting them up way in advance and just saying, hey, if it comes around, then I'm looking at it. But, and I could even set an alert. So I could just come in here and say, add an alert. And again, by the way, sponsored by TradingView, as you guys see here on the screen. Make sure if you're not already using TradingView, seriously, it is the best trading platform. And you can set up trading alerts, which is really cool. So I'm just going to do show pop-up because I've got TradingView open all the time. Again, I gotta represent our sponsors here, but I use it all the time. Literally, it was like the easiest thing when TradingView reached out to me and they were like, "Hey, would you be interested in having TradingView sponsor your streams?" I was like, "Are you kidding me? Yeah, that's the easiest sponsorship ever because I already use your product every single day." A lot of times, we get offers for people who are like, sponsor us for this, sponsor us for that, and I'm always like, I turn down a lot of them because I'm more interested in sponsoring stuff that I truly, really enjoy, and TradingView is absolutely in that category. It's something that I'm very, very, interested in because I use it every single day. And again, if you don't use it already, check them out, tell them we sent you, and that way they'll keep sponsoring our content that you guys get here for free. Jay says, I love TradingView. Me too, Jay. It's great. What are your thoughts on AUD USD? Let's look at it. One more thing before I move on from GJ is you do also have this level here. You can see price basically did one of these. It did a 1, 2, 3 right off the bat off of this level. So if price does come down to that, I'm not necessarily interested in buying there. Although it has shown some demand, I'd personally want to see a little bit more sell-off because again, we're looking a bit top heavy here. We've been moving higher, but again, not something that I would short. I wouldn't short it just because it looks top heavy. I'm just saying I'd like a healthy retracement before I get involved, which brings me down to that level that I put an alert in, which was right around there at the 50% level on GJ. Trading View is the king of charts. Absolutely it is, Evan. I'm with you on that. Rainy Pip says, I need to rescue myself. Got to get some power traders and join Nick's VIP Discord. Join us there, my man. It's worth it. I'm telling you. I put, you know, the thing is, we make our price for the private group as cheap as possible to give you guys the most value as possible. If you like what we do here, like this is all free for you, right? If you like it in the free stuff, I'm telling you, the paid stuff is worth it as well. If you don't believe me, try it out for a month. If you don't like it, don't come back. If you do like it, stick around for the long term because I think that you will be happy with it. So check it out. Andrew says, dude, it's so worth it. Come join us. For real. Meet some other traders, work with other people, see the trades and ideas being shared by some of our more experienced traders. And yeah, so check it out. Again, oh, by the way, there's a promo code for you. Use that promo code that you see down below in the description. That way you get in there for cheaper. Thank you for supporting the content. That's our way of sort of thanking you guys who support what you see here. You get a promo code that gets you, like, I think it's $5 off if you use it on a monthly pass, and if you use it on the gold membership, it's 25% off. So use it while you can. Okay, we're going to look at AUD USD. Why are New Zealand and Aussie going down? Let's go try and see if we can answer that question, because honest with you, I don't really know right now. Let's look. So Aussie dollar pulling back hard. We did see towards Friday, we saw some nice demand come in for the Aussie. I honestly think that a pullback here could be a good chance to go long personally. So I might be watching this one going on into this week. I got bullied by AUD USD last week. Maybe some of you guys saw me talk about that trade. I got long on Aussie dollar and then got stopped out right there. That is just, it's painful still, right? It's like days later and I'm still crying about it. But, you know, it's one of those things, like when I look at this, it's like, okay, if I miss the initial try, it's fine because the markets, like I say all the time, they're not going anywhere. We can still look for opportunities in the future, but looking for those pullbacks, looking for those opportunities to get long on a retest of structure could be worth it to me. I like AUD USD because the Australian currency to me is undervalued relative to the US dollar. And so there's opportunities, I think, for this thing to go higher. My goal or my target on the AUD USD has been and still is 0.8. I think we're headed back to that point at some point. Maybe in the next few weeks. Again, that would be pretty impressive in the next few weeks. But, you know, you never know when things really get going. If we saw this move continue, right? If that did one more movement like that, it would have kept going. And that's just a few days. So, again, if we get that explosive move higher on the Aussie, could be some good moves. So the two trade setups that I like on AUD USD personally are maybe a retest of this demand zone, because again, every time we tag it, seems like it gets held. I'd be willing to take that bet because I do like the Australian dollar. So a move down to that point could be interesting. This time, maybe I'll put my stop a bit lower, give it a bit more room to breathe there, something like that, and look for the rally back higher. From there, if it does break this level, that's where I think we have a pretty clean move up to 0.8. The other trade setup that I like is that if this thing moves higher, I still want to be involved, but I don't want to chase. So the best way for me to not chase would be to see something like this. You get that demand rush in, and then you see some weakness, you see some pullback, and then bam, looking for that continuation higher. So those are both trades that I will be looking at, talking about inside of the private group if they come around. This is one of my more favorite ones to watch right now, and definitely is on my watch list. By the way, you guys, if you're enjoying the stream, do me a favor right now and just smash that like button down below. It's completely free to do, and it helps us out on the YouTube algorithm. As that guy Graham Stephan says all the time, smash the like button for the algorithm. But it does help us out, and it's completely free to do, just like these streams are free for you. So if you enjoy them, that's one thing that you can do to let us know that you want to see more streams, more content. We've got a lot more stuff coming to you guys in the next few weeks. We're trying to get more hosts to come on and do more content for you, because I can only do this for like an hour a day. It's like my max, right? Because it's pretty exhausting. I love hanging out with you guys and talking to you, but It'll be cool to get more people on here talking and sharing ideas for the future. So stay tuned with that. You can subscribe to my channel. You can also subscribe to our channel at A1 Trading, which is A1 Trading on YouTube. If you search that up, that's where we're going to be doing lots of live webinars, live shows, things like that. It's not going to be all on my channel. So if you're not already, make sure to subscribe to A1 Trading on YouTube for all that content that's coming your way. It's not my army, Ninja. It's the A1 Trading squad, man. You guys see just my face right now, but there's a whole team of people that put on what you see, put out articles and stuff like that. It would be not right for me to take all the credit. All right, thanks to TradingView for sponsoring our live stream today. Seriously, appreciate what they have given us the opportunity to do that. As you guys know, with sponsorships comes money. With money comes more stuff for you guys for free, which keeps us, keeps the lights on for what we do. So, as you know, streaming and talking about markets is a passion for myself and for plenty of you guys as well. So if a sponsorship means we get to stay on air longer, then so be it. That's the best case scenario. Gold's moving again. We'll look at it one more time. This is the last time we're doing it, you guys. XAU, USD. Look at that. Gold moving back to almost to the highs of day. We'll pull up the 1 hour chart here for you. Look at that move right there. Nice little retracement this morning. And then bam, start of the New York session, getting some strength coming in there. Do we have any news right now? Let me pull this up. I just want to check forexfactory.com, forexfactory.com, see if there's anything for us on the day. So it doesn't seem like there's anything major today. So I'm not really sure what's going on in terms of releases. I should have started with this today, but for the people who are watching the Australian dollar, we do have AUD unemployment this week, which is a big deal. Definitely could be a big mover if you're watching the Aussie, especially against the dollar. Let me also do this. So if we just filter this and we also put the orange folders here, we do have this week. This is big deal. CPI for GBP. I don't know why that's not a red folder. I guess it doesn't historically move the market enough to be considered red or like a big market mover, but we also have CAD CPI. So these are inflation numbers for GBP and CAD. Both of these numbers will be interesting to me. If they're better than expected, would be fantastic for either one of these currencies, and vice versa. If they're less than expected, maybe I'll adjust my bias somewhat, but we'll see. Guess this push is a bull trap on gold. You think so? I mean, for me, it's like we're tagging 1850. I wouldn't be buying personally. I think it's if you're a buyer right now, if you're holding on to a buy position, then congratulations. It was hard to mess this move up here. If you were long on anywhere in here, it's probably going well. But again, just caution at this 1850 zone. Again, the 1850, the 1950, and the 2050 are all levels here on the chart that historically have been pivot points. So just keep that pattern in mind, right? You've got 1850 here, 1950 here, 2050 here. All of those levels have been steep selling points for gold in this recent trend to the downside. So just be cautious as we tag this level again. Now, on the flip side, for the bulls out there, for the sellers out there too, anybody who is trading gold, watch out for this breakout, because if it does occur, if you look at it tomorrow or you look at it in the next 8 hours and it's just a big, huge green candle, things could very seriously be shifting for gold, especially with that recent COT report that is looking pretty bullish for gold at this time. So again, that is we've talked about gold enough today, but that's the idea, or at least what I have my eye on when it comes to gold. With that said, you guys, I'm going to wrap up the stream. Wherever you are watching, if you're watching on Facebook, we stream on Facebook. We stream on 2 YouTube channels. Wherever you are, make sure to subscribe, like if you can. It does do quite a bit just to help what we do here at A1 Trading, to do more free content for you guys. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe, follow if you're on Facebook, so you can get more of this stuff in the future. And we will see you back next time. Before I go, I do want to say, like I mentioned a few times in the stream, join us inside of the private group if you have not already. If you've never heard of what we do, we have a private Discord where there's chat rooms, there's live webinars, coaching and answering questions for members, trade ideas. We also have any of my trades you'll see, as well as our other 2 analysts right now. We have Frank and Patrick both sharing their trades for members with full breakdowns. It's not a signal service. It's not just a place to copy. It's a place where we share our trades, our reasoning. Whether we win or lose, you'll see it. So with that said, that's going to be it for me. Check it out down below in the description. There's a promo code to get you a discount for supporting the stream here. And thank you so much for joining us today. If you did enjoy, make sure to subscribe. We'll see you back in the next one. See you next time.